CODY Callahan. I'm the writer, director, producer of ANTISOCIAL,
Do you like my
and it's on my
poster?
phone.
Uniting the nation through film?
That's awesome. I've seen that. Where's that from?
Real Canada.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I know, I'm so stoked about it.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about Antisocial.
So Antisocial sort of follows five friends on New Year's, and they're having a New Year's Eve party, and they get interrupted by the potential end of the world, and so they barricade themselves inside, and sort of the terror ensues after that.
It's it's hard to put technology in films these days, and you kind of used it
Yeah.
to your advantage. So tell me about kind of some of those hurdles and overcoming some of those
Well,
hurdles.
it's funny when we wrote it, we were kind of like wondering why no other movies kind of embrace cell phones and computers and stuff, and I think we know now why, because it's really difficult to shoot somebody on their phone because it becomes kind of boring really quick. So it was hard to try to figure out how to shoot this movie because they spend a large majority of the time staring at a laptop. So it was like, how do we make this interesting? This is why cell phones don't get reception and they die for sure. Because as soon as you introduce a cell phone, it's a nightmare.
Mm. But I really like the aspect of it because you have, a group of people cramped into a very kind of claustrophobic space, and it kind of creates this larger world outside that they're connecting with. So it kind of
But
made a low budget movie very big budget and very kind of global. So I really like that aspect of it.
yeah, it was. I think when we were at one point when we were writing it, we wanted to go after other Canadian directors and have them all do like this a little YouTube video in their style. So like going after like a Jason Eisner and Cronenberg if we could go that way.
Yeah.
We didn't have time to actually do it, but one of our yeah one of our big things was since we're stuck in this house, we need to make sure that the movie doesn't feel small.
Yeah.
So it was like the YouTube allowed us to sort of get outside the box.
Mm. So this is your first feature film, is that right?
As a director, yes.
Yeah, I was so impressed with your directing. It was really, really incredible.
Thank you.
And you had some really interesting epic moments, and I don't know, you had a nice temper to how you approached it. Were you doing a lot with the editing as well? So were you editing?
Yeah, I mean, both, again, I mean, because of budget constraints, both me and Chad also edited the movie. Um, but yeah, I mean, both of us kind of came from an editing background because before that, I was directing a lot of music videos that we were cutting ourselves. So um, editing for us, I think, is pretty natural. And I mean, Chad's a lot better of an editor than I am. But together, I think we were able to sort of fix mistakes and get around little things like that.
Oh, it looked way bigger budget than I think the budget actually would have been. So
Right.
from that aspect, that was very cool. But tell me about your approach to directing. This is your first feature, and you really seemed, in my opinion, to have quite a grasp on it. So tell me what your approach was for it.
Well, I guess over the last 6 years, I've been producing a lot. So I was producing for two friends of mine, John Geddes and Jesse Cook, who John Geddes did Exit Humanity and Jesse Cook did Monster Brawl.
Yeah.
So I've spent a lot of time, and I also was working with a director in LA, so I spent a lot of time around like directors and sort of helping them creatively through like logistical things and all of that. But at the same time, I was also directing music videos, so directing the camera was easy for me. And also working with my friend Jeff Mahar, who I think is brilliant. He also helps me look better at what I'm doing. But it was like the first time really working with um, actors at that level with something so intense. But I think I also kind of got lucky with them too, because they all sort of turned out to be gems. So I
Yeah.
guess I don't. I guess my approach was I don't know. I surrounded myself with people I could trust, um, and then I just sort of crossed my fingers and went for it.
I thought that the special effects, the virus in particular was quite, you know, quite interesting.
Yeah, I think me and Chad went to my cottage for I think like a week, and I feel like we spent half the time just trying to figure out how the virus works, and it's because I mean, on screen it's like it's fairly simple how it plays out, but it's quite like complicated. Of like, well, okay, so this disease or whatever it is, it goes through like a pattern that's under the website, and it actually grows like a tumor in your brain, which eventually grows and takes you over, and that's why they hallucinate, and then it eventually pops your skull, basically. And it was designing of how that works and how it would play out, and also because the movie is kind of real time, it was trying to figure out where people were and if they got infected, how long have they been infected, to make sure that we didn't mask that up.
Yeah.
So I think we spent like 4 days just talking about the virus.
Yeah.
And what it was.
Which I think is important. So tell me a little bit about, because I'm not an aficionado of horror films.
Right.
For you, what makes a good horror film?
Well, I think there's sort of two kind of horror films. There's the slow kind of creepier, more psychological, and then there's like the scare. And after working with Chad so much, I think when Chad directs, he's better at the scares. And it's like I tried to at the beginning. I wanted it to be scary, but then I kind of just found that my style is more like psychological, and it's slower. It's like, okay, here it comes. Oh my god, oh my god. It's like I'm more into that. So I mean, there's two different kinds. I mean, like a horror movie could be like uber gory, or it can be like super scary. So there's so many different kinds. But I think what makes a good horror film is the mixture of that.
I'm fascinated by the Canadian horror community. It seems pretty strong and pretty dedicated and hardworking. You're putting out movies twice the speed of sound. So tell me a little bit about that community and how audiences can connect with your films, because you're making these great films, and I want to make sure that audiences know how to get a hold of them.
Yeah, I mean, I think we found sort of the smaller the budget, the harder it is to sort of get it out there. We got lucky with Antisocial. Monster Pictures just picked it up, so it's on DVD already in Australia. But also Breakthrough put it in the Carlton, which is a cinema in Toronto. So it's going to play like actually in the cinema, which is, I think this is the first movie that I produced that's actually in a theater.
I put this in my review. I always write my review up before I speak to the filmmakers, because I end up liking the filmmakers, and then I can't be objective.
Critical, yeah.
So I was writing in my review about this felt like more than just a movie. It felt like, it could have been expanded out. And then Chad tells me that you all are working on it too. Yeah. So
I think we go to camera in February.
Really? Like you're that far ahead on it?
Yes. We go to camera in February because we kind of have to. It's coming together. But I think like what you just said, it's like I think everybody kind of had that feeling of like you had just touched on something and everybody wanted more. So I think I'm actually using reviews to put in the script. So when a reviewer is like, this was great, but I wish that they had touched on this, we're now going to touch on that.
You're going to be reading mine then. Great. Well, what have you got coming up besides Antisocial 2? Chad was telling me you guys have got a movie. What's it called?
The Drownsman?
That's it?
Yeah, so as soon as Antisocial was done, me and Chad, again, escaped to a cottage and wrote a movie called The Drownsman that he's directing right now. And I think they've got 2 or 3 more days of shooting, and as soon as that's done, we're going to jump in and finish the script for Antisocial 2. Besides that, again, here's the Canadian community, the DP of Antisocial, Jeff Mahar. I co-wrote a movie with him that we're actually we co-wrote or co-directing, and we actually just got financing for that. I can't really talk about what it is and who it is, but I think we might actually go to camera end of March. So I might be doing Antisocial and then jumping on another project.
Are you directing both, or are you?
I am. Yeah. Well, Antisocial 2 is just me directing. This other movie will be both me and Jeff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, you've already got me and a fan. I'm very excited about more directing from Cody. So, yeah. And I'm super thrilled that the Carlton has picked this up. It's going in the theater this Friday in Toronto. I think it's
Yep.
wonderful. I think,
Yeah. I think it plays December 13th to the 19th, and I think there's like 3 or 4 showings a day.
yeah, very nice. And then how can audiences like across the country connect with the film? Do you guys have a website or anything?
We don't have. We're gonna have a at some point soon. We'll have the redroom.com will be out. So the actual website that makes you sick will be, and you can go there to find like news. But it's also something that we might just keep going just for fun. So there'll be like videos and stuff like that on it. But
That's cool.
I guess the best spot right now is Facebook. We have a Facebook page, and of course, and yeah, that's it. That's the best way. I know.
Social
And it's
media.
weird. Yeah, it's weird to make a movie and hating it so much, and it's like I don't necessarily hate it. I hate kind of what it does, and some people the use of it can be off-putting. But it's funny to make a movie about it, about how bad it is, and
then
use it to market.
to support the film.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of I don't know. I kept questioning it, and I kept thinking, I'm like, when this movie comes out, I should delete Facebook. I should not be on Facebook. It'll be better for interviews. It'll make it. I couldn't for reasons of getting the movie out there.
Yeah, exactly. And there is the crux of the problem, right there.
Oh, look at, we're using Skype right now to talk.
I know. It's disturbing, but I mean, you can't get away from it, and I
No.
think that's.
And if you do, then it puts you on the outside circle, right?
Yeah, that's true. So, well, thank you. I, for one, am very grateful for social media and Skype and being able to interview you. And
Of course.
yeah, we're not in the same room, but had a wonderful conversation.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
Thank you.